Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing something that approaches the perfect watch. This is the Lange Sohne Richard Lange pour le Merite. This is a timepiece with over 915 parts in its movement and a white enamel dial in Grand Faux style. You can see and you can purchase this phenomenal Fusée timepiece on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see this 2009 model year limited edition of 200 pieces and purchase it on our website, with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing for this and our entire collection of Lange timepieces. Our website is the natural next stop in your journey. Now, on my wrist, this watch wears beautifully. It feels great. It looks great. And you know what? The superlatives are exhausted as I try to express just how special this timepiece is. Let's start with the fit and the feel first. The watch is 40.5 millimeters across the round of the case from Roman numeral 9 to Roman numeral 3, not counting the crown. It's neither thin nor thick, but 11.4 millimeters thick as my calipers measure, with a generously domed bezel that allows any dress cuff or sleeve to slide over the edge. From lug to lug, it's a contemporary but not oversized 49.4 millimeters, and in my estimation, you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference quite easily, with a handsome proportion and physical security. If your wrist is oval, you might even be able to wear this on a wrist as small as 13.5. So this is a good watch for wrists of all sizes. Now, it has a very thin and unbolstered medium brown alligator leather strap with a monotone stitch, folded edges, calfskin on the underside, and you can see it's slim in profile, terminating in a classically styled, though surprisingly nuanced pin buckle. You can see there are actually facets and bevels going on here that are a bit beyond the norm and thoughtfully executed. Even this is a handsome piece. You'll also note the retaining bar that Lange includes on its pin buckle, the idea being that if you were to buckle the watch down to one of the smallest holes of the strap, if you have a small wrist like mine, if you strap a watch on really tightly on a small wrist, sometimes the strap gets pinned on the ordillon or the pin of the buckle, and it's hard to pull it off the pin to dislodge the watch from your wrist. That's what this retaining bar is. It prevents the strap from riding down too far and too tightly against the pin for those of us with small wrists. German watchmakers, you think of everything. Now, the case is handsome but simple. You can see it's all of high polish. The character lines are established by the junction between caseband, caseback, and bezel. And the lugs are handsome because they have a distinct step that separates them visually from the caseband. You can see that to best advantage from the bottom. There is a cleft that separates the caseband from the lugs, allowing them to have more character and an individual sculptural quality that would otherwise be lost if they were too soundly integrated. Now, the bezel is domed and simple, beautiful and polished. It segues nicely to the dial, which really is the highlight of the watch's surface aesthetic. The true highlight is this, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, the dial is special because it's constructed in several pieces. You can see disc, and then outer disc. So it's a tri-level structure composed of different pieces of Grand Faux enamel. So because you can't simply machine it away, it has to be constructed piece by piece to build up what you see here. Now, it's a surprisingly colorful dial. I'm going to move in a little bit, try to get it in focus and get some more detail. But you can see, and this is a good angle, I'm even going to make it a little bit lighter, open up my aperture so you get more of the glossy sense of how rich this dial is. Outboard, there are small red accents. You can see small Roman numerals denoting 15, 30, 45, and then the index at 12. The Roman numerals, which are inboard of the Arabic numerals, are beautifully laid down, crisp and clear in a glossy black to match the glossy, rich, lustrous white of the enamel base. Enamel is expensive and it's hard to achieve. It wasn't until 2014, actually, that Lange was able to achieve enameled dials in-house. So this watch represents a collaborative effort of the best of German watchmaking. Now, I mentioned color, so you've got white, black, and you've got splashes of red, but you also have gorgeous alpha-style hands, more elegant because they have a greater delicacy about them than triangular alpha-style hands. They're a perfect complement to the traditional Richard Lange style. The crown is simple. It's wonderfully satisfying to turn, but at the risk of winding the watch fully before you get to see the fusee, I'm going to forego turning it for the moment. Now on the case back, you can see the caliber L0441, 33 jewels, 915 parts, 636 of those parts are actually in the fusee chain. Now you can see as I wind the watch, the chain moving from barrel to barrel. The chain itself is 1/4 of a millimeter thick. It's 15 centimeters long, and it can support 2 kilograms of force. So if you can imagine the mass of 2 kilograms hanging from a chain with 636 parts, 1/4 of a millimeter wide, that's what's inside this watch. Now it has a very specific purpose. This is the pour le Merite. Since the original tourbillon pour le Merite, one of the first 4 Lange models in 1994, pour le Merite has represented any watch that features a fusee and chain, a traditional, and by traditional I mean 17th and 18th century pocket watch constant force device. The idea is that you have a barrel and you have a fusee, and as the chain transfers from one to the other, the mechanical advantage increases. So the barrel is able to pull with less force but greater mechanical advantage as it winds down due to the fact that the barrel and the fusee both have a conical profile and the chain transfers from one to the other such that the effort required to operate the escapement with constant force becomes less and less, relatively speaking, for the barrel as it winds down. Now the watch does have a 36-hour power reserve because all of this takes up an immense amount of space and there is simply no more room after adding the fusee and chain to add a large mainspring. But it's spectacular. You will not regret having to watch and feel and enjoy the winding of this timepiece on a daily basis. The transition of the chain from the fusee to the barrel is absolutely hypnotic, and vice versa. Now the watch has all the totems of German watch finish in the modern era, most of which, it should be noted, were established by Lange. So 3/4 style bridge, albeit skeletonized to reveal the fusee and chain. You can see a jewel at center for the center wheel set in a chaton held by screws. Again, another pocket watch finishing element, a black polished swan's neck regulator, and you can see the cap to the escape wheel likewise black polished. In fact, almost everything that turns black when I turn the watch flush to the camera is black polished. There are glasuta stripes across the bridges themselves, except for the balance cock and the structure immediately below that bears the escape wheel. Those feature freehand engraving in the best traditions of Lange. Now, again, because this is freehand engraved, not executed with a rose lathe or laser etched, no two of these are exactly alike. So although 200 of this model were made, no two are identical. You'll also note that there are both blued screws and polished screws. Polished screws used for regulation of the mechanism, blued screws kiln fired, heat oxidized blue, not dyed, those are used for assembly of the mechanism. And you can see that there's also a tight and even engine turned per lodge across the base plate. The balance, beating away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, also features a overcoil hairspring, which is not universal to Lange timepieces. It's an upscale refinement for this deceptively simple watch that allows the hairspring to beat concentrically and resist the effects of gravity on chronometric precision, regardless of the position of the watch. Now, finally, as I mentioned before, the watch does have a number of small refinements, including hacking or stop seconds, so you can halt this unerringly accurate timepiece and synchronize it precisely to your reference time of choice. This is about as big and bad as a three-hand watch gets. Immensely complex, immaculately finished. You can see the mirrored anglage at the edge of the bridges, rounded, hand-finished, the real thing, not filed off with some sort of milling device. This is as good as it gets. You can see and you can purchase the best on our website.